What is up, Dodger fans? The franchise Dodger Familia. Welcome to this week's episode of the Let's Be Frank podcast. As always, Frank Lopez with you alongside my wonderful co-host Frank Martinez. Frank, how you doing this lovely morning?
I'm doing good. It feels good to record when the sun is out.
Yeah, a little bit more wide-eyed and bushy-tailed today. Um, yeah, plenty to get into today. Appreciate everybody reaching out with your guys' mailbag questions. So today is the return of the Frank mailbag, so we'll get into some of those topics there. Um, all the while kind of sprinkling in what's been going on the last week or so with the Dodgers, and some of the results, some of the injuries, some of the updates, stuff like that. So, much appreciated to everybody for tuning back in. So, but with that, Frank, I think we'll go right into the Rockies series. I think we talked about these like Colorado series. They just get a little wacky. Um, what do you make of a split in Colorado these days?
Colorado, it's the Dodgers Rockies division stuff. Um, you know, you could just see that you might look at it and say, yeah, they turned on the switch, they got there, they let them know who's boss, and then all of a sudden and then when before they left, they did the same thing, but sandwich in between those two games were two clunkers, one where they gave up a lead, another one where, they just were outplayed. But it's just Colorado. I don't put too much stock into it. I used to be the fan that would say, like, well, the other team had to deal with the same exact circumstances. And the thing is, that's not always true because, teams are coming from different places to that given series. And so Colorado plays there 81 times. The Dodgers do not. And so first series in Colorado, it is what it is. A split is totally acceptable in my book.
Yeah.
There's probably bigger news coming out after that series than just the wins and losses, and so I think we'll probably get into that a little bit more. But as far as the results of the games, it is what it is. You go in there, you really hope to leave there healthy. That's kind of the biggest thing, and that didn't necessarily play out for the Dodgers.
Yeah, and not necessarily because of Coors Field or anything like that, right? You
No,
get
right.
into like the Edwin Diaz news that he's got what foreign, like, what is it? I don't know. He's got
Foreign bodies.
foreign bodies in his elbow. First I've heard of that one. Which you could just imagine he just needs to clean up in there based off of old stuff, um, and look, the Dodgers tend to jump on these things this early in the season so they can get them back a little bit later. I think he's projected sometime right after the All-Star break is what they're hoping for. I mean, I guess take the time you need. But it did come after a couple of outings that weren't as sharp, right? I think we talked about the last one. He had blown a 3-run save, and then kind of just got away from him there. Velo was a little bit down, so some things were concerning. It ended up being an injury. So we're gonna have to lean on our previously discussed Alex Vesia probably a little bit more. Tanner Scott, guys like that, Blake Trinans, guys that have just kind of been more familiar faces from previous years, and lean on, I guess, your starting pitching to start giving you a little bit more distance as well. Given that we've got a bunch of starters that are getting extra days off and in between starts and whatnot, so I think we're positioned in a decent way. But regardless, I mean, you go into a Rocky series, I'm kind of right where you're at. Like it's a, a split out of four. And as if things aren't stupid enough, when you go to Colorado, they do this weird like 4-game series where like Monday's the getaway day, which when did that start happening? I don't know.
Apparently, more and more.
Yeah, it's weird. And not only that, like the getaway day is like a still night game, and then you got to go to San Francisco, which is its own weird environment, and just funky times, right? And I remember there was a podcast episode of All the Smoke that I had recommended to everybody with Tyler Glass. Now, the Dodgers, something he mentioned on that podcast, the Dodgers are kind of aware of just how funky, obviously, playing in Denver is. Where like guys that aren't even like scheduled to pitch, they just won't even have them go. Like they don't even take the flight, don't even go over there. There's no point. Uh, that way, just to keep everything normal. But yeah. So I mean, like, yeah, you come out of here. I guess they could still call it a happy flight because you won on the last game or whatever. But still a little weird. I mean, obviously, it's like to see a little bit better baseball in the middle part of that series, like you said. But some bright spots, right? Somebody that we talked about previously as well in depth, Dalton Rushing, uh, just completely, just just really making a name for himself in the league. He's got like what it was like 7 home runs in 8 games, something like that. Like quickest pace to 7 home runs since Barry Bonds in 2002 is a stat that I saw on the broadcast, which we talked a little bit about it a few weeks ago. But with Dalton Rushing continuing to hit like that, I mean, you got to kind of find at bats for him, right? I mean, I don't know how, but you have to.
Yeah. Freddie and his wife, or Freddie going on the paternity list to celebrate the birth of his child, came at a good time for Dalton to get some ABs there. And then I don't know if you saw that, but it turns out he gave up one of his games while
Yeah.
Freddie was out to Ryan Ward because of his call up. And
Hmm.
so, if anything, that just goes back to the point we made in that previous episode about how, yes, Dalton could probably start on 20 plus franchises right now, if not all of them, with the way he's performing. But he is okay with his role right now, and he's
Hmm.
doing his best to stay ready when called upon. So that really does alleviate some of the pressure as it pertains to personalities and egos
Hmm.
and whatnot. But you still want that production, right? So
Yeah.
I really don't know what his defensive capabilities are aside from obviously being a catcher. I saw him make one play at first base that he got in front of a ball and stopped the ball and made the play. Uh, so I don't know if he can do anything else. I thought I remember hearing he was getting some play in the corner outfield last year, left field or something like that. But yeah, figuring out ways for him to get ABs. It seems like Will Smith's been okay with additional days off as well, um, behind the plate. And then we also mentioned about those days that Otani, like today, starts. Maybe that's when you get Dalton in as a DH and give Otani the day off at the plate.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess we can kind of like get this into straight into our mailbag because we got a few different mailbag questions. Let's see, it was from um, our good friend Steven Riverside, Theo Steve, our good friend Jack, Midwest LA fan, and Mr. Bork, Dodgers. What's his handle these days? Dodgers
Oh,
MFer.
it's changed so many times.
uh, all people that we love and revere on this
Yes,
podcast.
absolutely.
Um, all asking about basically that. Like if him not hitting on the days he pitches, that's something that we intend to see in the future. And we did talk about that in relation to Dalton Rushing, I think a couple episodes back, right? Where like if he keeps hitting, like what are the options about getting him at bats? And then I think I brought up like, hey, well maybe Otani doesn't always have to hit when he pitches. And I brought up like if it's like 100 and something degree game in Cincinnati in the summer and you just want to keep him in the dugout in the shade. But no, it came sooner than that. It was a home start against was it against the Mets, right?
Mhm.
Um, and I guess it kind of came as a surprise to him too, because kind of like Doc kind of dropped the news on him like pregame, and he was like, "Oh, okay," um, and it worked out. And I mean, he looked good. He's actually looks really good on the mound. Um, and yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more of that. And I think it's a sign that we probably will, to make sure everybody's getting their at bats. And I still want to see him hit and pitch some games too. And I think it'll depend on the urgency of the game because come October, there's no way in hell he's ever not going to get his at bats. So
Right.
there's got to be some type of rhythm of that going into these games. But if you could preserve some some energy, some stamina, I think that's warranted in my opinion. How do you feel about it?
I'm all for it. Save the bullets, man. There's levels to this, and I think April, May, June, the the value of those games for a team who's trying to three-peat is really getting their veterans right, whatever that means. If that means additional days off, if that means getting creative with time, and then also mixing in the younger guys and trying to get them established and experienced. That really is the bigger challenge for this team at this time than you know trying to gel a team together the old-fashioned way and hope they can get some rhythm. Like there's enough guys here that know what to do, how to do it, and are capable. Um, and so there's just a different thing going on. So I'm all for the additional time off, creative with it, being creative with it, and also getting creative with ABs for those who need them as well.
Yeah, it looks like we're pretty aligned on that. And also too, I'm kind of a fan of just getting different looks at different situations throughout the entire season because, everything kind of goes out the door come October and you get put in these weird situations where you got people playing positions they normally never played. You got starters pitching in extra innings and this and that. So, anytime you can kind of like break away from the norm and the monotony of the regular season while getting another obviously benefit of keeping guys fresh and healthy. I think it's a win all the way around. And at the end of the day, they won the baseball game too. So there's plenty of offense to go around, up and down that lineup and on the bench. So and to that, I think let's get into another mailbag question we have here, and this was from uh, Instagram. Yes, from IG, from my good friend, longtime friend Albert Ramos. Shout out Albert, appreciate you tuning in here. And he's asking because I think it goes hand in hand with this: how hard will it be to work in Mookie, Kike, and Tommy when our bench is performing so well?
That's a great question. Um, I think the answer to that, Albert, is baseball. Baseball finds a way of working a lot of that stuff out. It whether that's an injury to somebody. Look, ho- we kind of had a similar situation going on with our bullpen. We had too many bullpen arms, and guys needing innings, and Edwin Diaz goes down. Hopefully, for just a couple months. Now that might seem devastating, and I know there's a lot of talk about the Andrew Feeman failure because of that and whatnot, and maybe we can talk about that or not. But the luxury is you can absorb that, and it gives other guys opportunities to really end the Dodgers an opportunity to see what other guys have. And I think that's going to be the same case when Mookie, Kike, Edman, and are back. First of all, they're not going to all be back on the same day. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? There'll be an overlap of that time. And then secondly, it will probably coincide with somebody somebody who's really hot, maybe needing some time or some days. No one stays hot the whole season. And then, you also can absorb injuries as well. And when we say injuries, it's not even the major things. It can be just minor stuff. Just a bum ankle. It's not. I can play on it if I want to, but why push it when we got someone else who needs ABs anyway? And that is by far the biggest value that our culture brings, that Dave Roberts brings to the equation, because he gets guys to buy into that approach. And it really helps that they're paid well as it is for the most part. So they're not playing for a
Uh,
contract.
right. Yeah, and then I mean, they're playing to win. I mean, you don't if you're one of those types of guys, rotation guys. I guess in basketball we call them rotation guys, but bench guys, depth guys in baseball, that are added to this roster to deepen it. I mean, that's going to be the idea. I will say I don't think there's going to be any issues working Mookie in. I think he's our starting shortstop. Like, and you got to find ways to get him days off, to be honest. So I think it starts with that. Tommy Edmonds is kind of the one that I'm like, okay, like let's see where it goes because if Andy Paez keeps being Andy Paez, where it did cool down a little bit actually, um, but if he keeps uh, making it hard to take him out of the lineup, if Ha-Seong Kim is producing and they got to keep him up on the major league roster, um, and so forth. I mean, you guys play several different positions. That's where it's like, okay, well, then you kind of got to force the issue to find at bats for a guy like Tommy Edman. But like you said, things are going to kind of work themselves out. I believe that. But we do have you might not see him as often, right? I think there's a there's a chance that we go into October when we just don't see the amount of Kika that we're kind of used to seeing. And if Pajes is on a heater and Kyle Tucker and Teoscar are both hitting, like good luck. Good luck finding Kike Hernandez at bats, and he might just be like a defensive sub or whatever, and he's always there. And we know he's going to be locked in October with this focus. But I think that's the way I see it. So Mookie's going to get his, and then Tommy Edman, you're going to have to. Luckily, his versatility defensively is going to help himself out there. Um, get those at bats, and then we'll kind of see what's left over for Kike and when he comes back. I think they're gonna. My intuition tells me they're gonna give him every second he needs, every extra second, every extra day, every extra minute he needs to make sure he's like 100%, and then kind of just see where the roster's at and find a convenient time to plug him back in. Is the way I think of it. So, fantastic question from Albert there. Thank you, Albert. Hope everything's going well with you. It looks like it is. Um, let's get into this other one right here from Sky at Sky with a bunch of Y's. Um, he's asking who gets the call up first, River or Stone? So Gavin Stone or River Ryan, who are both pitching in the minor leagues, both highly touted, both have incredible tools,
Yeah.
and yeah. What are your thoughts on that? Who do you think we see first?
I think River Ryan. Um, he seemed in spring training at least. Gavin Stone had that one start, and he's more of an injury. Um, but we saw. Well, let me start over. It's weird because if you had asked this question last season, you would say Gavin Stone because he's got a little more. He's proven a little more at the major league level. But then he had the injury, came back, had a setback. Whereas River Ryan showed some good stuff in spring training. I think where we're at today, it would my guess is it'll be River Ryan. Um, and then and just let Gavin Stone, you slow play Gavin Stone and all of his recovery and rehab. But I do think we'll see both of them at some point.
Yeah, I think if all things were equal, like as far as progression coming back from injuries and production and the levels are at right now, then I would probably go Gavin Stone because of yeah, he's just been around longer, I guess. Like he's just, I mean, if you remember 2 years ago, 2 seasons ago, 2024, uh, he I think started more games than anybody, right? He never had until the very end a real injury, so he was kind of like our horse, like our caballo, and we would kind of run him out there every 5 days, and he was kind of the only guy we could really depend on for that. And it was just really unfortunate to see that him go down with an injury. So, yeah, I would say. I mean, I guess, yeah, I think River Ryan probably showed us more during spring training, and he's probably on a faster track to come back. But regardless, I think we'll see them both, but maybe. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't say too soon either. I think they're gonna let them cook a little bit longer down there. So I think maybe in the summer sometime. Um, so similar to like the position players, like it's just really gonna be a matter of um, what the big league roster looks like from a health standpoint and what they're giving us. So there are some question marks around the starting rotation, right? Blake Snell, I think, is gonna pitch a rehab start in Ontario today. I think.
Today, yeah.
Yeah, today, which will be interesting to see how he comes back from that. Roki Sasaki's just inconsistencies, right? Inconsistencies of kind of his up down productivity, I guess you can call it. Uh, since he's been a starter, I guess, even last season to this season. So
Glass now always deals with
yeah,
something.
yeah. To Glasnow always has a little vacation somewhere, somewhere in the middle of the season there. So we'll see. We'll see what that looks like. But I guess we can go with River Ryan. We'll call it a River Ryan projection there. So, but man, like it. I mean, these are guys that both have incredible stuff, and um, it could turn out if everybody's healthy that we kind of have a little bit of an embarrassment of riches with pitching going into October. So hopefully that's the case. So. I got a fun one. I'm gonna sneak one in, and I got two fun ones from Visionary Kicks. That's Jake. Shout out Jake, who just an incredibly talented artist, specifically a
Yeah.
shoe artist. But I mean, he's just awesome. Um, we'll do one, and then we'll end with another one afterwards. Frank, how many Dodger dogs do you think you could put down in 24 hours?
24 hour. First of all, I don't the Dodger dogs have decreased in quality. But if
Hmm.
if I could if I had to do it for the sake of
Okay, how about this? I'll tell you, a flame grilled Farmer John Dodger dog.
okay, let's go with that.
All right.
Um Competitively in 24 hours if I'm trying to win a competition, Uh, Gosh, that's a crazy. I don't even know. Like, how much time do I have to use the bathroom? You have to.
24
Am I
hours, whatever.
am I sleeping? I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know, man. Factoring all that out. If I was in a competition and I had some like real big prize to aim for,
Hmm.
maybe 50. I don't know.
So that's give or take about one every 30 minutes.
Yeah, about two an
Okay.
hour.
Yeah, I think that's possible if you're using the restroom, if you're getting up to walk around and
Yeah,
walk them down, things like that. Yeah, I don't know if I can keep a 1 per 30-minute pace for the full day. Um, but I could probably do it for the first part of the day. So I'm thinking if I did like one every 30 minutes for like the first like 5 hours, that's 10. And then the rest of the day, one per hour, call it. So dang, can I really eat 30 Dodger dogs in one day? I don't know. Have you seen the 999 challenge?
what is that about? I've heard of it. I don't. I'm not
It's people that go to ball games and a lot of times they'll like record it for content, but it's 9 beers, 9 hot dogs, and 9 innings. So
Wow.
yeah, so I mean the beer part, I mean that's probably something you wouldn't participate in, but um that's tested. I can do that. I can I can uh
One
I
per
can
nine.
handle that. The nine Dodger dogs in 9 innings. It's tough because if your games are quicker now, like a 2.5 hour game, 9 dogs, that's how many minutes was that? Like a hot dog every, was it every 30 minutes? Like 10, 15, 20 minutes? I don't know. Um, that's tough. But for the sake of the question, I think I can call it 25. I think I could do 25 safely.
In a day?
Uh, yeah, I could probably do 25 in a
Yeah,
day.
I'm not. I can't do 50. After I thought about it, I was like, yeah, that's.
50 is a lot, dude.
I, I, I can't. I don't think I physically could do it. I would say like 30. 30 would
Okay.
be. I'll push myself and I could do 30, I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You hating life the last like
Hmm.
15 of them,
Yes.
No, hating life the last 28 of them.
You're right. Exactly. You
Anything
enjoy the
after
first one or two. That's about
yeah,
it.
yeah, sometimes you'll go for that second one if you go to the game a little hungry. But that third one is that's a mission already. So hating life, that's a tough day, Jake. Um there's
Oh,
there's your answer. Thank you for the engagement. I appreciate it. So uh for now that question was from Instagram. So just a reminder to everybody, these questions you can ask them on, or we'll find them most likely when you ask them on X and on Instagram. If you ask them somewhere else, we might be able to find them. But that's where we recommend putting those in. All right. So another question from our friend Taylor, Dodgers meme team, asking us, do you think the Dodgers' current pace is sustainable? Granted, this was asked a few days ago, and they were kind of at a different pace. So this was, I would say, pre-Rockies series. So I think it's already been proven that it didn't sustain, I guess, because they lost a few games since then. But what do you think is a sustainable pace for the Dodgers, Frank?
as far as like the wins,
Yeah, I guess like what do you think a realistic total wins number would be?
104, something like that. I think uh I think it's realistic, but I might even take the under on that only because bigger than wins and win totals is health. And so
Hmm.
I think they'll sacrifice wins for health, as they've shown. We did that last year. And and so they see the winning formula there. Um, but just the sheer talent that is on the team and the ability to go out and plug any potential holes at the trade deadline um, should have them right in that range, I think.
Yeah, I think we clear 100. I think we clear 100. I think the pace that we were at was like a 120 win season. So I would say no to that. But I think clearing 100 is possible. Now, if we go on one of these crazy, crazy heaters, like, you know, maybe towards the end of the season or early summer or whatever, maybe if the dog days are hitting other teams that are less deep a little harder than they hit us, then I can see us clearing maybe 105 wins. I think That's something that we can see. Well, let's remember last year's win total was one of the lower ones we've seen in this era of Dodger baseball. Even the year that we didn't win the division, the fluke season from the Giants, that was like 100 and something wins. Like the Giants just played out of their minds for one reason or another. Um, but last year being the year that I forget how many wins, it was 90 something, still winning the division. But so I would say 100 and if you're saying 104, I'll say 105, and we'll see if it's the over or the under there
All right.
at the end of the season. Cool. We'll check back in what is it, early October to see what that ended up being. Um, cool. Let's see. I think we have one more here. We do. It is. Oh, it's another fun one from Jake. Um, and I'm gonna preface this with saying Shohei Ohtani. You can't answer it with this answer because I think that's the obvious answer. Unless you have another one that actually you would rather be somebody else. But if you could be any Dodger player for one game, uh, for a game day, who and why?
If I can be one Dodger player for a game day. Okay, so I'm gonna play.
Hmm.
Um, ooh, current Dodger player. Um, I would say I would like to be experience the game day of.
First of all, was
Uh,
Shohei Ohtani your obvious answer, or was it not?
it would have to be Shohei.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Okay,
come on, you get to
so
pitch and hit.
yeah,
Yeah,
we'll omit him from the discussion. Um, but and it is player because I would have said maybe like Dave Roberts or something would have been
yeah,
my answer. But Dodger player. I look. I guess I'll answer first because for me, I grew up as a pitcher and like
yeah,
pitching, and I kind of geek out on that type of stuff. And so I would have probably pitched like or choose like a relief pitcher, like just be kind of in the
yeah.
bullpen the entire game, and then just come in and like super high leverage, maybe like I don't know, maybe call it an Edwin Diaz or whatever, be able to come out to that type of reception and that type of hype. Whereas where in the entire game you're able to just kind of like relax and take it in and be with the guys and um, I think that's probably my answer. Just being a pitcher, and you come in and it's just like a shot of adrenaline, right? Like it's the highest stakes possible. So you get that going too, but you still get to watch the rest of the game, like kind of as a spectator. So I guess Edwin Diaz might be my answer.
Yeah, that's a good one. A relief pitcher in general,
Hmm.
but uh, I think I'll say someone. Gosh, I was gonna go relief pitcher as well, but you know what? I'll tell you. I'd choose Freddie Freeman. I'd want to be Freddie Freeman for a game.
I
That'd
love
be
that.
amazing,
Hmm.
especially like Game One of the 2024 World Series or something.
Yeah. Specifically, game one of the
Yeah,
2024 World Series.
that'd be nice.
I like that one too, and I like choosing a first baseman too. That's a good answer because you get interactions with the other team constantly. You guys going to
Yeah.
first base and just having. Did you see? Okay, another rec, by the way, you guys, is Jeff Passan has
Yes,
a
I saw it.
podcast. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Jeff Passan has a podcast called Jeff Passan Has Sources or something like that.
Yeah.
It's an ESPN podcast where he just talks about baseball and whatnot and interviews people, I guess. This is actually the first episode I've ever seen of that podcast. So I'll probably be tuning in more often because he's a really good interviewer. But he had John Schneider and Dave Roberts on, and this was during
Together.
that series together.
Yeah.
And they are basically just kind of walking through the really the entire series and then game seven in depth. And it's really, really cool. Like it's they're going into things that only they can really give us insight on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you could tell, and they even both say it, like they hadn't previously given themselves the opportunity to really do that, go step by step. For Schneider, I would imagine it's for obvious reasons, like you don't want to relive the horror of all that stuff. And for Dave, it's probably like, I mean, I don't know, there's just a lot goes on in the offseason after winning a World Series championship and trying to find rest and all that stuff. So, highly recommend it, guys. It's an hour plus, I think. It's a good length. So give yourselves time to watch it. But they talk about the thought process behind Miguel Rojas being in the lineup um, and then there's things they didn't even get to because there's just so much there's so much that happened in that series. And maybe me and you one of these days, Frank, will do like a you know uh, a recount of parts of that series just because
Yeah, that'd
there's
be
a lot to
neat.
work through. Yeah, and just because it's there's just so much, and even I probably haven't processed everything, even though I've watched every highlight video and and every Dodgermentary that has come out about it. But like they didn't even talk about the double play at second after like that ended game 6. That's what I noticed, and I'm like that was like one of the most key parts of the series. But when you factor in, you know, game 3 and obviously game 7 and just everything else that's happened, and some of the pitching dominance and the split. They were talking went in detail talking about like all the pitchers that had splitters in the series. So like cool little things that you probably wouldn't hear from other people. So highly recommend. Um, but in that they talked about when the bench is cleared in game 7 after Robleski
Yeah.
hit Jimenez, how Schneider goes up to Freddie. I guess he's kind of. I think so, he had a confrontation with Will Smith, and he wanted to clear that up, and he went to like who's like a team leader type of guy to make sure that gets cleared up. He goes straight to Freddie just to be like, hey, I didn't mean to whatever with Will. And then in the moment, Freddie had like the wherewithal to tell him, like, hey, great season, by the way. Like in the middle of like a
Yeah.
bench is clear game 7. He's just that guy. And then congratulations to Freddie and Chelsea Freeman, by the way,
Yes.
on the birth of their child. So yeah, yeah, yeah. So highly recommended content there from Jeff Passan. Great job. Cool, Frank. Look, that does it for the Frank mailbag questions. So we'll open up the mailbag here probably in another few weeks. But we're in the middle of a series against the Giants, right? We dropped the first game, and we lose on a game where all 3 runs are given up in the first inning, and we only score one. It was kind of hard to just piece anything together against their pitching and look strong. So it is what it is. I think in years past, these Dodger Giants series might be a little bit more highly anticipated, but we're gonna get their best every single time. If anything, when the teams aren't as good, is when you're gonna get a stupid effort from them. So that's kind of what might be happening. But anything, I mean, we're in the middle of the series, but anything you're kind of have your eye on for this Dodgers Giants series?
Um, uh, the cool thing about going into yesterday, the all-time series between the Dodgers and Giants was exactly equal. Did you know that? Including ties. It was like 1,208
Ties.
and 1,208 wins and losses with like 17 ties all time. I'm imagining those were, 1890s or something. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, back in the New York days, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But in any event, I thought that's like pretty crazy. Um, Although the Dodgers did win the only postseason series, which isn't included in that record. Uh, so
Okay.
there's that. But no, just I'd like to see a big offensive day just because you got that massive, massive outfield um,
Hmm.
out there. I'd like to see an offensive day where there's just a bunch of, extra base hits and a
Okay.
high offensive output. That'd be nice because those are exciting games and just see the hitters take advantage of the big outfield out there and not just go homer happy.
Hmm.
But of course, a splash homer from someone like a Muncy or a Shohei would be always exciting as well.
Yeah.
Uh,
Shohei, I don't think has hit one in the Bay, has he?
I can't think of one.
All right,
I don't
there you go.
recall.
There's a prediction. Shohei goes into McCovey Cove for the first time in his career,
Let's go.
and hopefully for the first time in many. Um, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I think one thing I'm just kind of curious about is the success of the Giants manager, Tony V. He was the coach of the University of Tennessee. And it's kind of really the first time I can't think of another time where you get like a college head coach making the jump straight to the big leagues
Right.
as a manager, and had a lot of success obviously in college. And so I mean I would say so far not so good, but there's obviously a lot of baseball being left to play. Um, and the Giants have they've been somewhat experimental with some of their choices and managers. When they had Gabe Kapler. I think he was one that the Dodgers had in mind. It was between I think everybody thought Gabe Kapler was going to be the Dodgers manager, right? And then
Before
kind
Dave Robertson.
yeah, and it kind of came out of nowhere. I think that Dave Roberts just swooped in on it, and the rest is history. But Kapler ended up going to the Giants, and then that didn't work out. And I mean, they've had a couple guys since then, but so I'm kind of curious about that. Just kind of see the way he manages the game, and because I'll be real, I kind of want the Dodgers Giants rivalry to kind of rekindle a little bit, man. It's been a little bit
Yeah.
lame. I mean, growing up, there was no real Dodger Padre rivalry right now, but the state of things and the state of both teams, I mean, that is the most exciting baseball that's being played. I mean, I'll put that matchup against any matchup throughout the league. You'd like to see the Giants kind of do something soon to be a little bit more competitive and just have some just higher stake games throughout the regular season uh, against teams that we're going to face pretty often. So that's where we're at. We're saying all that, but then we lost the first game, so we'll see how the rest of the series goes. And tonight, I think is a Shohei day, right? Shohei Ohtani's going to be on the mound against Mali, I believe. So something to look at there. So we are into division baseball. I think the only team we haven't faced in our division so far is the Padres, right? Yeah, it's the Padres. So, and that's coming up soon. So cool, Frank. Anything else on your mind that you feel we should bring up?
No, I think it's a good episode, and all in all, you're gonna hear this from me more than once this season, and that is relax, let the season play out. One loss, one series loss,
Hmm.
it's okay. One injury is okay.
Hmm.
The Dodgers are built to absorb those kind of things, and just kind of. I saw someone tweeted this. I reposted it. It said, "Man, going game by game for during a 162 game regular season and living and dying on every game seems stressful. Glad I don't have to do that." And of course,
Took me
we've all
like
been
the
fans.
first. It took me like the first 80% of my life to figure that to
Yeah,
find that lesson.
exactly, exactly, exactly. I mean, it's a
Uh,
recent. I mean, you
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
but
Yeah, especially when you get these long playoff runs and you're playing November baseball, you're like, it's April, dude. I don't know. It's April. But fun nonetheless, and just interesting what kind of storylines are out there. So, yeah, once again, thank you to everybody that participated in the Frank Mailbag. Glad we were able to get to all of your guys' questions. We'll do that again here in the coming week. So look for us on X and on Instagram for that at Let's Be Frank Pod. And YouTube, we're also at Let's Be Frank Pod. And that's where we post our full episodes. So we've been posting the full version of our episodes on X and on YouTube. So that's where you can find the full version. You'll get more clips and stuff like that from Instagram, and then just some chances to interact there through polls and through mailbag question things like that. So nonetheless, appreciate the interaction. So with that, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Let's Be Frank podcast, this week's edition, and we look forward to seeing you guys in the future. So with that, we're the Franks, you're the franchise. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.